This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. So last class we are able to build your file as well, right, using your build command. So now what I want to do is I would like to push this particular things to my ACI. So I don't want to have my copies. What are the things have been created? What the images have been created in my local repository within my thing within my Docker level. I do not want to place it over there. So what I want to do, I want to send to some secure place in here. Okay. So if you see here my command prompt, I can see kind of Docker images. So when you talk about Docker images, so we can see lot many images are coming up in here. And what I want to do is like now this images what you see in here, I don't want to put it in here. What I want to do, I want to push that to some secure place so that nobody can touch them, and at the same time, it will be in most secure manner in here, so that if anything goes wrong, immediately it can download the image from a ACR and it start running the things in here. Okay. So I would like to go and I would like to do such a kind of things in here. So how can you, how can you go ahead and how can you access your ACI? That's the main thing in here. So how do you push your things? How do you, how do you tag your local system, local image to my ACI level in here? So how can you do that particular part in here? So let's see that all now. So first of all, what I would like to do, I would like to create my Azure container registry within my portal level so that I can send my images what we have in the Docker level in here. I would like to push my one of the images to my ACR. So go back to my account, and here I'm trying to provide my password. Now see, you can see container registers. If you don't see it in here, you can type in the search bar to get your container registers in here. So just type in, or you can see here, so you can see container registers. Click on your container registers, click on create button. So now here I am trying to get my things done in here. So I need to create my new resource group in here, as I don't have in here. I'm trying to create a new thing, VRIT-RG. Click on OK. And I'm trying to provide the name of my container registry. So this name here, I'm trying to provide something like, VRIT-ACR. So it's saying that it's already in use. So this is like, this particular ACL what you're trying to create, the name should be unique through the domain what it has. Something like, you're trying to create your new email ID in Google, which should be unique. So even though that will be used by someone else, what should happen now, that will not be created for you. So you have to create a unique identity so that you can have your own IDs in here. Similarly, this is my domain kind of stuff in here, Azure ACR.io, where in this particular domain, what the name you mention in here, that should be unique. So I'm trying to go with something like, VRIT SOL ACR. Let's see if this is available or not. Yeah, is this available? So tick mark. And as usual, East US is my region I would like to go with. Availability zone, I don't want to go with many availability zones in here. So this availability zones, the backup can be available only when you choose your SKU equals to premium. Okay, so premium, because when you go with premium level, the things in here, then only the backup will be enabled, your insights, the creating, the monitoring of your logs will be enabled. Everything will be based upon the premium in here. Generally in real-time perspective it will be premium only, but for now I would like to go with the normal mode standard. Okay, so as usual, subscription, your resource group, the name of your registry, and the location where you want to deploy this particular resource what you have trying to create in here. And I don't want any backup in here anyway. For that reason being, I can choose standard. It's more than enough for me. Networking, so this is again Generally public access. If you want to go the private access, then you should go with your premium in here. So inscription, customer, and finally review plus create. So you do not need to have much details with respect to my content registry in here. So only basic thing, your name, your subscription, resource group, and your location and the SKU. So these are the important ones. So you are trying to create Azure Container Registry in here, where this is your kind of a repository which is available within my Azure level, where this particular repository contains all the images what you have in here. Okay. So now how do I can access it? Because yeah, it's done. Very good. So go to resources in here. So now if you see here, I can see my access keys. Okay, so here the repository has some access keys in it, because I want to push my local images what I created in here. I want to push these images to my what, to my ACR, to my cloud level in here within my container registries. So if you want to push it, or if you want to pull the images from my ACR, it requires some kind of credentials, it requires some kind of access in here. So how can you provide that? See, by clicking on your access keys, you can see login server. So this is the login server you have to provide as a user ID. Then you can go ahead and you can provide your user ID and password. So, but to have my user ID and password, what I should do? I should enable my admin user. So this is by default is disabled. If you disable, then you may not able to pull your images from your repository or push it to my repository. You may push it, but you may not able to pull the images from your repository in here. I mean within my ACR. So for sure, you should enable this option in here. When you enable this option, automatically what will happen? So you can have your user ID and your two passwords are being generated in here. So you can regenerate the password if you want, and you can use any one of the password in here. So password 1 or password 2. Okay. So this is what we have in here with respect to my ACR. And coming back to my SC here, I can see my repositories. So repository is is a place where you will be seeing all your images created in here automatically. Okay. So what are the images you want to pull from? If you want to see the list of images available within ACR, the repository is a place where you can go and look into that. Okay, so access keys and your repository both are very important with respect to my ACR what I have in here. So now first of all, let me try to log in into my ACR so that I can push my images to my or to my ACR in here. So how can I log in? So what is syntax to log in here? How can I log in into ACR? So here we have a small syntaxes, something like Docker, everything start with Docker, and say Docker login, and try to provide you the login server name in here. So what is the login server? Nothing but this is what they provided, and I to copy that and provide it in here. So by writing this one, what will happen automatically? You will be having your user ID, and they'll asking your password, all those things in here with respect to my ACR. So this ACR belongs to my, this is the domain what we have in here. Within this domain, this is the ACR which has been created in here. So you will not have any duplicate names as we saw earlier. So you should have unique identity. So let's go ahead and let's try to run the command within your Docker. So it's authenticating, it likely to ask you for the username. So what is the username? So see here, they already provide the username, and also it's showing you the same thing in here as well already. So you can copy or you can paste it here. Now it's asking for the password. So password, you can copy one of the password what you have in here, and here right click. And here you will not see your password displayed, as you know already. Hit on enter. So now after a few seconds here, yeah, see, I can see now the login has been succeeded successfully. That means I have access from my Docker host, which has been local level in here. From my Docker host, I can access my ACR, which has been sitting remotely in here. So now what do you want to do? Now I want to push my, I want to send my images, local images to my ACR. So how can you do that particular part in here? So first of all, the images what you have in your local repository. I mean, you can go with your Python, VRIT, web application, Nginx. What are the things you see in here? All those things, the images what you see in here cannot be pushed directly to my ACR. The very first thing what you have to is we have to tag your local images to my image name with respect to my ACR. So the first thing is to push the images to ACR. The very first step is we have to tag the local copy, or the local image to remote ACR name in here. ACR image name in here. So you have to tag it. The local image to what? To remote ACR image name. So you have to tag it. So once you tag it, automatically you can see one more entry of your image with what name? With your remote ACR image name in here. So let's go with what is syntax for that. The syntax for that is tag. You can see something the things every time will be starting with your with respect to my Docker, right? So you can go with your Docker tag. So what you want to tag in here? So I would like to tag my local image to what? To my remote image name in here. Okay, so provide the name of my image which is available locally to where? To what? To my remote image name in here. So along with this one, this is my this trying to pointing to my remote ACR. I would say uh, remote ACR / and the image name what you want to provide. Along with that, what kind of version you want to go in here. Okay, so you have to mention all those things, so that based upon that you can go ahead and you can push your things in here. So let's go the real-time things what we have currently. Similarly here you can see Docker tag as usual, and here I have some local image. Let me go with my Nginx, for example. So Nginx in here, and I'm not mentioning any. If you need, you can also mention a tag in here, because what is the local image name, what is the tag number, and what is the tag number you want to provide in your remote location in here. So currently it's latest, right? So it's latest, so you don't need to mention when it's latest in here. So you can remove this one space. So I mentioned my local image name in here, and now what I want to do, I want to mention my ACR and my image name in here. So what's your ACR now? ACR is something, come back in here. It's my login server, I would say login server, and the name of your ACR image in here. So going back, this is my name of the things, and I would like to go with my image name. So what image name I want to go with? Any image name. So you can, it's up to you. So I would like to say application with your tag number. Okay, so here I would say it's a remote ACR login server. Okay, so remote ACR login server, that's what we have in here, right? So this is a login server. So remote ACR login server / along with your name of the image what you want to push over there, and the tag number what you want to have in here. So both, so you can mention in here. So as per current things what I have in here, my Nginx is my image what I have in here, and since it's latest one, I'm not mentioning my tag in here. So actually you have to mention the tag if it is not a latest. Suppose if you see here I have 2.0 or I have 1.0 in here. So when you have such a kind of things in here, then for sure you have to mention your tag number as well, something like this. But currently I don't have, this is the latest, it's not required. Or if you want to mention, explicitly, even though it's taken by default, you can mention it, not a problem. Okay, so Docker tag, what are you trying to tag? I'm trying to tag my Nginx, which is available in a local repository to where? To what? To my login server name forward slash with the image name what you want to create within my ACR and the tag number also. So this is the syntax you have to follow to tag the things only. This is not for pushing the things in here. Tagging means one more copy of your image. You see in here, you already see your Nginx in here, right? So similar to this, see here, I can see one more copy similar to this one. Similar to this one, I can create one more copy of Nginx in here with the name VRIT SOL ACR and Nginx -app. So my name is like underscore app in here with the version 1.0. So when I run this one, I can see one more copy of my image within my local machine again. Hit on enter. So this is done. So now I would like to check again my images list one more time. So Docker images. Now I should see the new one got created successfully. Okay, with 1.0 version and with the name what you mentioned in here. The same thing what you mentioned in here. Okay, so this is what just trying to tagging, because without tagging, without the name of your remote machine with the ACR, you cannot push this particular same image to my remote machine or ACR in here. Okay, just give me 1 minute. Right. So this is a very important point. So between my pushing my local image from my Docker host to my ACR, in between what I need to do, first thing is like I need to tag it to my ACR on ACR name in here. Now what will be pushed? This particular image which has been already tagged with my ACR name, that will be pushed, but not this one anymore. Okay. So how can you push it? Now it's very simple. How can we push the tagged image to ACR? So very simple. What to do? Simply go ahead and simply say Docker push and your image name what you have in here, which has been tagged one. So currently, as per my things, Docker push and what's the image name which has been tagged? That's nothing but my this one, right? I can see the same name within my here as well. See, application app. So I'm trying to copy it and I'm trying to paste it here. So this is what need to be run as per my syntax to push that into my ACR. So now copy it, go back here. Now right click, hit on enter. So now start, since using the default tag is what? My latest. Okay. This push request repository VRIT solution is here. Nginx app tag does not exist. Oh, I'm sorry. So what's the issue in here, guys? So it's saying that since here while pushing it, this is the name of the image, right? But what I need to do is like I need to mention my tag as well. What is the name of the image? At the same time, what is the tag number you want to push it? So for the same image, you may have multiple tags in here, right? So here I did not mention my tag. I already told you if you do not mention my tag number, then what will happen? it will try to take your latest version. But for this particular name, do you have your latest version in here? No, right? I can see 1.0. I don't see latest in here. So this is a kind of a version. Even this is a version in here. So for this particular respective application or image in here, I don't see latest, but I can see 1.0. That reason being, it says that since you did not mention your tag in here at the end of my no the syntax, it's trying to take default tag equals to latest, and this is not available here for me. For that reason being, it says that tag does not exist in here. So again, trying to hit on the top arrow so that I can get my previous command. Now I would like to mention my tag number because it is 1.0 in here. So go ahead, hit on enter. So now it will try to go access my ACR and it will try to push your the images which is available in my local repository to my ACR in here. So let's wait for that or go to the repositories. You have to wait until this is it's trying to push in here. So let's say to wait until that completes, and once it's done, then you are able to go ahead and you can see your this particular image available within my ACR. So ACR is doesn't execute anything in here. It's just kind of a storage for us. It's a kind of it's a place where you can save your images. So instead of saving your images in your local repository where your Docker host is available, you're trying to push to some secure place. So where is that? Nothing to my ACR in here. Okay, so that's only the reason being we're trying to use your ACR. Apart from that, ACR is not really required. But going forward within your Kubernetes environment, when you talk about Kubernetes, all those things, when Kubernetes, when you want to run any container automatically, it should pull the image first of all, right? So the image can be pulled from your ACR. So while creating a Kubernetes cluster, we have to mention your ACR name as well, so that it has all the things over there, and it directly goes and pushes things from pull the images from ACR. When you go with your Kubernetes environment as well, we'll still try to see that particular part later on. So now I can see everything got pushed in here. So go ahead, refresh your page. See, I can see Nginx application, the same name which is being created in here. At the same time, I can also see my tag is been created 1.0 in here. Okay, so this is like how many you can have these things. How many times you trying to push in here? Every time it should be actually you have to make sure you have to have a new image in here, and that image can be pushed to my ACR again. So this is like all what you have in a manual level. So you're trying to do everything in a manual level in here. So building up the image, right? So we have built up the image using your build command in here. After image available locally, what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to log into my ACR and I'm trying to push my images to my ACR. How? By tagging the things in here. So by using your tag concept, I'm trying to tag my local image to my ACR image name in here along with the tag number what you have in here. Later on, I'm trying to push my image to my remote location. Okay, so building up the image, tagging up the image, pushing the image to ACR, all the things what you're trying to do, we are trying to do in a manual way. But later on, we'll try to see how can we do that in a most automated way as well, using a CI/CD pipelines. Okay, so now I have my image available within my local, within my ACR. Very good. So now what I want to do, I want to pull this image and I want to run the particular container. So for that, what I'll do, I'll go back home. I'll try to create a virtual machine in here where you can go ahead and you can pull your image from a ACR. So I'm trying to create a Linux virtual machine here so that I can have my Docker installed with my Linux machine, and I'll try to connect to my ACR from my Linux machine, and I would like to pull my images from ACR and run over there with my Docker available with my Linux machine. That's what I want to go with. So till now what we have done, using your local repository, I'm able to push my images to my ACR. So now what I want to do, from my ACR, I would like to run this image in some virtual machine in here. So how can you do that? Let's see now. So using my same resource group in here, and I'm trying to go with my Linux-VM, east to west, no infrastructure required, and here VRIT admin, capital VRIT admin at the rate of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, capital VRIT admin at the rate of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So just trying to provide you the ports, networking, management, advanced tags, and finally, review plus create. So I'm trying to create a Linux machine so that I can go and I can connect to my ACR and I can pull my image from my ACR, and what I'll do, I will try to run that in my virtual machine in here by showing a Docker environment within my Linux virtual machine. So my deployment of my virtual machine has been going on now. So now, how can you create your, how can you install your Docker within your Linux machine? So that's very simple again. So once creating of your Linux machine, how can we install Docker in Linux VM in here? So again, use your Docker app install. Earlier you used the same command to install your Nginx, right? So now what I'll do, simply go with my Docker IO. So using this particular command, what you can do is like you can go ahead and you can install your Docker within my virtual machines in here. So using this particular command, you can you can download your things, or you can you can connect to your Docker within my Linux virtual machine. So this is not like you're trying to do within your local machine or local things in here. You're trying to do with using your directly within your virtual machine. So let me go ahead, let me check the current status of my, yeah, it's very good, completed. So today my internet is very fast. So copy my IP address, go to my command prompt. Okay, leave as this. I'm trying to connect to some other command prompt in here. SSH VRIT admin at the rate of my IP address, hit on enter, say yes, capital VRIT admin at the rate of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. My password. So let's go with your basic thing. Just to update your machine, first of all, sudo apt update. Sorry, sudo apt update. So once this is done, then I would like to go and try to install my Docker within my Linux machine in here. Yeah. No? So yes, go ahead and do it. So I'm trying to install my Docker within my Linux machine. So once my Docker is installed, what I'll do, I will try to connect from my Docker. Again, the same thing what you're trying to do in your local machine, what you're trying to do in here. So this is now in this scenario, the Docker what you have in your local machine, Docker host is what? Your local machine. Within my Linux system, I'm installing my Docker in here. So in this scenario, Docker is what? My Linux virtual machine in here. So wherever you're trying to install your Docker, that will be a host, Docker host. So earlier it was local machine, my own laptop, but now it is Linux virtual machine is my Docker host in here. So again, now you can go and say Docker images. Okay, so it's asking me some kind of permissions I need to provide so that I can go ahead and I can run my commands in here. So it's trying to say I need a permission to my path where some docker.socks in here. So I'm trying to copy it. So how can you provide the permission? Sudo chmod 777 and provide the path name. And now go ahead and try to run the same Docker images. Since it's a brand new one, I don't say any images in here. So where all this happening? This is happening in my Linux VM. So this is my local system, where I can see multiple images in here. Where here I don't see anything in here. Okay. Now for example, I want to pull my images. Docker pull image name. You can go with that, right? So let me go like a Docker pull Nginx, for example, or actual pull something like HTTPD, TDPD. So quick, very quickly it'll go ahead and it try to pull your images from your Docker hub, and you can see your things available within your list now again. See, I can see my new image available in here. Okay, but now actually what I want to do now, I would like to connect to my ACR from my Windows, so from my Linux virtual machine in here, and I want to pull my image. What is the image you want to pull it? I want to pull my where is that container registries. I want to pull my nginx underscore app. That's the image name what I have in there, right? So I want to pull that image, this full image, along with my, I would like to pull my tag number 1.0 in here. So this I want to pull it, and I want to run in my container. So how can you do this one? So going back to my Linux machine. So now I'm trying to run it. So before I need to push it, right? Because without pulling my image, without connect to my ACR, I cannot pull my image in here. So how can you connect? Again, same thing. Docker login and provide you the login server name in here. Access keys. The same thing what you have done already is for your connecting to your local machine. So same thing I'm trying to do with my. It will ask you for the user ID. Provide the user ID. Password, copy one of the password, hit on enter. See, login succeeded. Very quick. So because everything you try to do in your cloud level. So you can see the difference between the things connecting from local machine to ACR, and remote machine to remote machine within cloud to cloud level. The things which is very quick in here. So now my connection succeeded. So I'm able to log into my ACR successfully. So now what I would like to do, I would like to go ahead and I would like to pull my the image into my local repository in here. So how do you pull it? Docker pull command. But what is the name of the image you want to pull in here? So it's not like simply you can say that it's like nginx underscore application. No, this is not the way. So when you tend to pull with respect to from my any ACR, you have to mention your login server name, exactly same thing what you have earlier. The same thing, login server name, and then your application image name along with your tag. So all those things you have to provide. So if you do not know, no problem, click on your 1.0 version in here. So it's clearly giving you the syntax. Docker pull your login server name, your image name, and your tag number. So just copy everything and go back to my Linux virtual machine here. Remove this one, right click and hit on enter. See, since we already logged in successfully, we are able to pull your things from your ACR and try to download that into my local copy of where of my Linux VM in here. So within this particular repository, what you saw in here, or this repository, this is the repository. It's local to which one? My Linux VM. So it's trying to do the same thing. See, now it's been completed successfully. Now if you go back and check on your images, now I should see two things which has been created for me in here successfully in here. Now what I want to do, I want to run this particular image in the container. So where you're trying to run the container, I'm trying to run container in my Linux VM in here. So how can you run it? As usual again, docker run -d -p. Since it's the first container, let me check the containers. Do we have any by default? Docker ps, I don't see any containers in here. See, it's a no, it's a kind of a empty table you have in here. Now what I want to do, I want to go ahead and I want to run using my the container within my docker level in here. So docker run -d -p 80:80. Okay, the porting technique was you did earlier. If you want to provide the name, you can provide the name something like, it's like a nginx underscore application or something like VRIT to make it sure it's a unique name in here. At the same time, you can mention your actual image name. What's the actual image name? This is the image name in here. So what you mention in here is a container name, what you're trying to run. This is a container name, what you're trying to run, and within this container, what image you're trying to run it. This is the image I'm trying to run it in here. Along with my tag number is mandatory because here it's not a latest again. If you do not mention this one, if you run it, see what will happen. It says that I would go with my latest locally, but is this available in here? No, it's not available. For that reason being, it's failing in here. For that reason being, I need to mention my tag number perfectly in here. Now hit on enter. See, it's been deployed and it start running in the container level in here. If you go and check it out your Docker PS, I should see my container running in here. See, this is my image name, and you can see 8 seconds ago, and I can see nginx, the name nginx app VRIT. This is the name of my container, and this is my ID. What I have in here. This is my container ID, and this is my container name. What I have mentioned. If you do not mention your name, what will happen? It will try to take its own name. It will try to take its own some name, random name, and that name will be allocated in here. You already saw that earlier, but I don't want to have my some random name to be picked up. I want to have my own name to be inserted in here. For that reason being, I mentioned my name as well in here. So this is, this particular part is optional. The what I highlighted in here is the container name you want to provide. So now I can see my container running in here with respect to what? My 80 port in here. So earlier when you're trying to access the things in here, you accessed using your local host and :80 or local host :81, all those things. But now it's not within local host, right? Now it's in your Linux VM. So how can you do that? How can I make sure I'm trying to connect to my Linux VM and then to my 80 port in here? That's purely based upon the IP address of my Linux machine. So go back now, home, virtual machine, or you can copy your IP address from here. Now go to my some page. This is my Linux machine, and with what? With my 80 port. Hit on enter. See, I can see welcome to Nginx. Okay, so this is what earlier used to go with local host and 80 port, local host or 81 port, all those things. But now I am trying to mentioning my IP address of my machine, what I have in here. So based upon that, I'm trying to go ahead and I'm trying to run the things in here. So if you're trying to run one more image, for example, here I'm having HTTP image as well. 1 second, guys. Suppose I want to run my second container as well. I already have my, the image available within my Linux machine. You see here, Docker images. I spelling mistake. Docker images. I can see these images as well, right? So I would like to run this particular image. Then how can I do that? The same thing. Docker run -d -p. Now it is already allocated to my nginx image what you are already having in here. So now what I want to do, I would like to go with the 81 port within my Linux virtual machine in here. 81 and the image name you can mention directly httpd in here. And I'm not mentioning my tag number because it's anyway latest, so you don't need to mention here. At the same time, I'm not mentioning my name as well. So let's see what name will be provided for my container which is having my image httpd in here. Hit on enter. It's done. Very good. So go back and check for your Docker PS. Now I can see my httpd images turning in here and see the name. It's adoring Meitner something. See the name. This is the name you have they've been provided. This is the random name they provided in here. But where it's running in your 81 port. So if you go back now again the same thing, copy my IP address, provide your IP address in here, along with that 81 port. Okay, I can see some where something went wrong. Oh, I can see my site can't be reached. Why? What happened? Let me check my VM networking. Oh, okay, see here within my networking level, it should show us what are the inbound ports you have in here. I can see 80 port, I can see 443 port, and I can see 22 port. So do you see like 81 in here or 82 in here? When you talk about your containers in here, you may have multiple things within your same virtual machine in here. So I can go with 81, 82, 83, 84. So when you have only one, since you have 80 by default, but that doesn't mean it's allowed in here, so it's allowed. But that doesn't mean I'm able to run my first image. But when I'm going with 81, I don't see 81 in here. That is the reason it's not able to come up within my things in here. So now how can I add my 80? So what you do, add an inbound port role. So here you can see destination ranges from 80 to, let me go with 90. Okay, 80 to 90 in here. And I'm trying to add the port number range 80 underscore 90. Just to, this is the range. So within the 80 to 90 means total 10 ports I can enable it in here. So I'm trying to add it. So creating a security rule, let's see. Refresh your page to make sure entry has been added to your list in here. Yeah, I can see now 80 to 90 in here. It's been allowed as well. Now go ahead, refresh your page. See, it works. Now it's working fine for me. Now if you want to go ahead and you want to go with something like another image like 82, even that will work. Okay, even that will work for you in here successfully. So I have my Nginx app. This is my own image available within my AC app. Let me pull the same image with as you pull your HTTP in here. So Docker pull your Nginx. So pulled and successfully completed. Now I can see within my images, I can see three things: Nginx with my latest tag, HTTP with my latest tag, and this is the one which I pulled from ACR. Of course, what you have in here and this one both are same. So now, even though you run this particular image in any other container, you should see the same thing. Welcome to Nginx, because the code within these two are same in here. Okay. So now how can you run it? Docker run -d-p, and anyway we all knew that 80 and 81 are been already tagged. Now I would like to go with my 82 port in here. 82 port with my 80 and your Nginx. Hit on enter. So I'm not providing any tag number or name of my container in here. Since you do not provide tag number, what does it mean? It's a late. You'll try to check for my latest, and the same thing is available within my list in here. So it's working fine for me. So now if you go back with my PS, So I can see my Nginx now added, and the name. It's something like, mystifying Haslet. So it's a random name they have provided in here for us. Okay, it's a random name they have provided for us in here. So but where it's trying to run, it's running in your 82 port in here. So go back again. Now go ahead and try to go next 82. Welcome to Nginx. So the only thing is, like, earlier you used local host in here, but now you are trying to use IP address. That's it. Nothing more than difference in here. Earlier you have a Docker installed within your local system, local laptop, but now where your Docker is available within my Linux virtual machine in here. So based upon the things where you host your Docker, based upon that you can go and you can access your things in here. You can go and you can run the things in here, whatever you want to go with. Okay, so this is how we can go ahead and we can do the things everything in manual mode. So what we have done till now, we have built the image, using the command, So later on we push the image to ACR using the command line again, and finally again what we're trying to do, we pull the image from your ACR again, right, and try to deploy that in a particular container. Pull the image from ACR and run the image in a container. So the total part of the process what you have done, we have done using your command lines. Correct? So now what I want to do is, like, I don't want to go with my command lines anymore. So I want to go automate this particular part. The total what you have here, I would like to automate this particular part in here. So I would like to deploy my, the container within my virtual machines, where within my web applications. I would like to deploy my container within my web application. So earlier, when you're trying to see your, when you're trying to create any web application, you might saw one more option, like, apart from code, you might saw Docker container. We go the app services. So when you're trying to create your app services, you might saw this particular option, code and Docker container. So this is the what we have to choose now. So when you're trying to go with automated way, nobody will try to go and deploy them in your virtual machine, but that will be done within your app services, that will be done within your web application, where we already knew that web application is your advanced version of your virtual machine, where this will try to be accessed using your URL instead of your IP addresses. So now what you're trying to deploy in here, I'm trying to deploy my Docker container. So what does a container contains? It contains my image. So from where you're trying to pull the image, I'm trying to pull the image from my ACR. So the same thing. Okay. So here, pull the image from ACR and run the image in a container in here. So this container again will be deployed in my web application in here. So this total part will be purely optimized using your CI CD pipelines. Okay. So how can we do that? How can you build your own YAML pipeline? Using your YAML pipeline, we'll try to see all the things again in here. Okay. So I'll stop here. So because you have to create a new pipeline, you have to create again your project, the same old stuff what we saw earlier. You have to create the project. We have to create, this how can you create YAML pipelines, all those things. So what are the options you have to choose to build and push your image to my ACR. At the same time, how can you add more details to get that particular part image to be deployed within my web application in here. So we'll see all those in your using a CI/CD pipelines in automated manner in here. Okay. So any questions, guys, till now? So what we have till now, like the flow, what we have created and what we are trying to run the commands, all those things.
Shyam, one small question here. So, in that step, right? So you have taken that Nginx image from Docker repository to virtual machine, right? So, I mean, there is any difference like without using the ACR? So you can directly picking from the Docker repository to the virtual machine. So, is there any
Yeah,
specific
see,
usage of yeah?
okay. See, earlier what you saw, like when you talk about the images in here, this image is from ACR. Okay,
Yeah,
and
correct.
these
Yeah,
two are available in my local machine directly. So these two
correct,
kind of is not available in my ACR in here. So
correct.
whatever it
Hmm.
is, it can be anything. The only thing why we try to go with the ACR is like for security purpose, so that you can go ahead and keep your image in a secure level. So nothing, nobody can touch it. Instead of having them in a as local copy, I'm trying to push it to secure level. That's it. So there will be no
Okay,
difference between the images available in the ACR or available in the local repository. Both are same. Only with just the security point of view, you're trying to push to my ACR. At the same time, when you're trying to jump into Kubernetes concept, Kubernetes
hmm.
what will do kind of advanced concepts of my Docker. So whenever any containers went wrong or went gone down due to some reason being, so Kubernetes will not wait for or will not do the analysis part, what happened, why it went down, all those things. Immediately it try to pull the image from my ACR and try to run a new container and provide the access to my end user directly. And it will detach my the other earlier container which is running, or it will try to delete the container immediately. So it's like the management of my Docker in containers will be done by Kubernetes very in quicker manner. So there will be no manual intervention will be required in here. So to have all those things done, we need a ACR for sure to pull the images very quickly and run in a container in here. So that images should be available within my Azure level, so that your Azure can go ahead and access it immediately. If it is in a local machine or local host in here, then probably your a Kubernetes may not have access to your local environment. So to avoid that, to make the things happen very quickly and smoother, we have to go with the ACR first. There is again one of
Okay,
the
so
other.
in Delta we usually use that ACR, right?
Yes, of course, we use the ACR for sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions, guys? Okay then. So tomorrow I'll try to show you, try to build up a CI/CD pipelines, and I'll explain you how can you build your own YAML pipeline to build and push your image to my ACR up to this level. At the same time, how can you deploy that into your web application? So all this total flow will be available in a single YAML pipeline. By running that particular pipeline, everything will be automated. Building your code, pushing to ACR, and deploying that, pulling that back to my web application and deploying over there my new code what I have. We'll see how it goes further. Okay. Okay then, guys, and we'll meet tomorrow same time again back in with more concepts on your automation Docker level.
Yeah, thank you.
Sam, can you share this notepad?
Yes, of course. Can share you. So I'll add
Yeah,
you.
yeah. Thanks.
Thank you guys then. Have a great day and bye bye.